we've regressed considerably. We're level 24. There's a lot of stuff that we built along the way, and a lot of things that I've learned. First and foremost, I have learned to kind of be better about compartmentalizing each of the workstations that you're going to have. Alright, here's something I do mean about compartmentalizing. So in this area we have a couple of berry plantations, a ranch, a food box, and some beds. Now the purpose behind this is that the people who are in the ranch will eat at the food box, relax where they can, relax at the spa when they need to, and then they have their beds right here to be able to sleep. That way they don't have to go very far from any task. The second thing that I learned is that you've got stuff inside of your inventory that you do not want to keep a hold of, but you don't want to run around to each of the boxes. Just hit your menu that you would pull up your inventory on, where it says the easy bulk storage. That's going to open up. You can add an exclusion list, which I have done so. But in this case, you're going to just stow away. We'll say this is something important. Pro tip for your early base: do not sleep on getting your own resources. Getting those resources, for example, at the logging site, the logging camp, they're not going to get any of the fiber that I just picked up. So now, for example, we don't go anywhere, we just go here and throw it all in there. And I have the saddle. I've built a couple of saddles, the Rushore saddle, the Foxbox harness, and I have the Chillet saddle, Lift Monk submachine gun, the Nightwing saddle. Those are the ones I have built. Here, bam! Now we get a bunch of, a couple of palladium fragments, a little bit of ore, mostly stone. But the reason you want to come over here and do this stuff is because you're going to get a lot more resources than you would get from each of those camps early on too. Taking a look really quick at how we've set up, I went on a spree of catching a bunch of different types of pals, right, as you get better. Now the reason I did this is because I have not built the condenser yet. Yeah, I have not built a condenser yet, and so I plan on using a lot of that for PAL condensing. The other thing too that I want to say is that you're going to want to run the cavern that's right here. We know that there's a dungeon over by the first tower, by the Rain Syndicate Tower entrance. There's a dungeon over there. You can rerun that dungeon several times, but you can also, once you have it built, build a PAL expedition station and have your pals run it. The pals will not only gain experience and gain abilities from there too, but they'll also bring back rewards. That's something highly recommend that you're going to want to spec into as quickly as possible. Alright, now that we have an expedition station built in, every time that you open up a new dungeon and do a new dungeon, then you can use a lot of the different dungeons themselves and run your pals through those dungeons. This is the dungeon right near that tower. That's right near our home base dungeon, the Verdant Hollow. So we can choose auto assign, which is your best bet. It's going to look through all of the pets of the pals that you have and pick the best ones that are best associated with taking on this mission. We're looking at 53,360 total firepower out of the necessary 25,000, so 158% reward, and it'll take 30 minutes real time for it to run. So we send those. Now, one of the funniest parts that I just made mention about regarding the dungeons is that is our base up there. You can see the light from one of the campfires illuminating the tree. That's our base right there. You can see it up here. There's an actual dungeon right down below. Level 13. Let's go inside and find out what we can get going. Inside the hillside caverns, right below where the base is, you'll find ore and sulfur. Sulfur you won't need right away, but it's worthwhile to start gathering it now as early as possible. Just some of the rewards that we got from that first cavern, the one right below the base. We got some cavern mushroom fluids, a speed remedy. We can actually use that now. We did gather some additional training manuals, so if we wanted to upgrade anybody like the Celeray, for example, we could do that. Ice organs, more Paldium fragments. We gathered some things as we went through. There's some advanced technical manual. There you go. So you can use that. Gather this. We could sell the precious entrails for a high price, like 20,000, I think, a piece for these little hearts. And then we also did find a makeshift SMG schematic. So all of these are going to be important going forward to help us in growing and just grinding. It's just part of the grind itself. So one of the next things that I wanted to point out is that as you're playing through, you only want to unlock the things that you necessarily need. Your technology points are going to be pretty infinite later on if you're doing things the right way. But by that I mean gaining manuscripts that allow you to gain them, and you can get those from salvaging, from fishing, from a number of different sources. But ultimately, rerunning a lot of dungeons will also do that for you. Rerunning bosses will give you things like that too. So those are things to be able to think about and consider. But unlocking only the things that you need early on is going to be very important, because you can stockpile these points for the things that you want to get. The other point that I want to point out is a lot of the cosmetic items are going to be only usually costing 1 or 2, right, for the most part. These are defensive structures, so they're actually going to be usually a little more. But all the necessary things are going to cost more points in the long run, which is the reason why you're going to need it. So for example, I'm already up to level 24, right? So there's a lot of stuff in the level 24 that I'm not going to build or get the research on right away. And I'm probably not going to build anytime soon. This, though, is going to be such an important thing to make, because it's going to be very, very important to helping you build all of your bases, not just one base. And it'll help you, the earlier you work on that, the quicker everything else is going to run. Right here, we're going to the first one. Now I would recommend, you're probably going to ultimately want to build a couple of these. Just because you're going to want pals of multiple things to work on one project together. If you can, once you start having enough pals, you can do that with. Pal labor research, and you choose the only one who can do it. In this case, it's going to be the Mammarist. But the Mammarist has a 4 in mining, so it should be fast. She's going to go over and do that now. Wow. So that'll be worthwhile. I'll be back when that's done. We're going to show you how to use a Jolt Hog. If you don't want to take advantage of the fishing game, because the fishing game can be kind of annoying, but if you wanted to take advantage of fishing without using the actual fishing game itself, here's one way you can do it. So we're at the local pond right near the base, right? Little fishing spot right here. I did denote it as a fishing spot. What you can do is this: if you grab a Jolt Hog and pick him up as a Jolt Bomb, get this one shot at it. I don't know if it's going to hit all 3, so I know I can hit these 2. So let's try this way. Once they're shocked, you try to take them out. That took Pangle it out, actually, unfortunately. Pro tip: don't forget that anytime you see any of these little areas where there are guards and there's a pal that you can free, take advantage of that pal and get them out of there. With that, the Mammarist is done. He goes back to go into his mining, but now mining work speed is 10% higher. Registering your pals and having pal presets is going to be important. For this one, for example, I have Herbil, Jolt Hog, Rush Ore, a Kativa, and a Celeray. The Celeray is for gliding, the Kativa is for helping our carrying weight, the Rush Ore is for helping us break down ores themselves and help with some of the loosening the carrying weight of those ores. The Jolt Hog is for fishing and just for general tactics as a shock grenade, and the Herbil is to help protect us. These guys didn't make it to bed, regrettably. Almost, but not quite. So I need to move the beds We're going to build our first PAL condenser. It allows us to take all of those PAL spheres, go capture a lot of early PALs to help condense them down. Not only are you trying to find really good traits, passive traits on each of them, but you are also looking for the ability to boost each of them up. Every time you do, especially the work base PALs, the PALs who work at your bases, you want them to be as many stars as possible, because their work skills will also increase as they level up in star rating. Let's go ahead and use it for the very first time. Now, this is going to be tough because we have a bunch of PALs that are currently inside of the expedition. And by doing that, that now takes us to side. So this takes us to 1 star here, and by doing so, it will level up the ranch area that they take advantage of. And now, because she's a level 2, she can take over, or level 2 as far as the things are concerned, she can take over here inside with the Vixie. And now she'll gain more wool for us just by being here, and we're going to need wool early on anyway, so it doesn't hurt to have that additional build up, because it'll allow us to fast track and get way more wool way earlier and faster. Getting your early game going on. You want to get as many of the early PALs as you possibly can, not just for condensing, because condensing is super powerful, but research is also super powerful too. But it was more just sharing the tips and tricks that I have with you guys as I've learned to play along. This was a short video. I wanted to share the tips and tricks that I've learned as I progressed through the game, and I hope that it's been able to be helpful for you. If you're new, please stick around. There's more content on the way. But thank you so much for being here, for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hype the video if possible. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.